Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Now living in Calgary has its perks since we are living near to the oldest national park in Canada, which is the Banff National Park. And since Banff is a world-renowned destination, a lot of the people come in summer and they're a herd of tourists. But in winter, actually there are less tourists, and I do think that the winter views are more beautiful and more precious than summer views. Sure, the lakes are really beautiful in the summer, but during winter it's a whole other world out there, and I just love adventuring in Banff during winter. Now, a lot of you always ask me what is there to do in winter, especially for those who are not skiers or snowboarders, who have families, or who are just doing some light walking and not really interested to do much but just to see the mountains. I have a list for you guys. So today I will be discussing the best winter activities you can do in Banff. And the first on my list is none other than Lake Louise. Now Lake Louise is another famous destination in Canada, and people who know about Canada, they know about Lake Louise, and rightfully so, because Lake Louise is one of the only lakes which you can visit year-round, unlike its sister Moraine Lake, where you can't really visit the lake other than June to Thanksgiving weekend of October. So it's pretty limited for Lake Moraine, but for Lake Louise you can visit it year-round. And from 2022 they introduced parking fee during the summertime, so that's $12.25 in the summer. But in winter, that is after the Thanksgiving weekend in October, you can park for free in Lake Louise, so all the more reasons to visit Lake Louise in winter. We decided to take Fawaz to his first frozen lake, and that was Lake Louise this time. It was our first time as well, because although we have been in the mountains, we haven't seen Lake Louise in winter, and it was a really nice way to see Lake Louise with Fawaz. It was very special for us. Fawaz was super excited to be out in the open and in the mountains. We layered him up properly, so we got used to layering him up, and it was around -12 degrees with wind chills, and we got extra layers. So we've been taking him out multiple number of times, and if you're following me on Instagram, you do see the trial and error basis we are doing with the way we're dressing him up. And we are doing short walks even in Calgary when we can't go to the mountains. So he is accustomed to the weather right now, and it's a blessing for all of us because we can stay out longer. So he was definitely really happy to be out in the mountains, and it's a really cool thing to walk on a frozen lake. Now, if you have never seen snow, or never been in North America before, or Europe, or never lived in this part of snow, then you know that this is super special, because we have heard about walking in frozen lakes back in school, or even like it seemed like a fairy tale, but to be able to do it now is surreal, and it feels so awesome to be able to walk in this special lake. So we did a bit of lake walking. We did see people skating also on the lake. That's another bucket list item, especially if you know how to skate. You're gonna love skating in Lake Louise. I still don't know how to skate properly, but I'm hoping in a couple years I can come back with my son and we can skate here together or figure something out. But it looked really special. We were spectators. We saw people skating on the rink, and it looked really beautiful with the mountains as the backdrop, and you're skating in an open space for free. It looked super beautiful. And just beside that, there was an ice castle which was built. So every year in January, ice sculptors, they come and they carve ice, and they have this ice competition. But for some reason this year it got cancelled. That didn't still stop them from making ice castles. So they did make one in Lake Louise, and they do have Snow Days festival going on in Banff right now. So this is something where they celebrate winter every year in January, typically the last 2 weeks of winter, and they carve a lot of different sculptures around the city. It looks really beautiful. So if you have not been in Banff during January, this is the month to go. So I hope you guys can make it, and it looks really beautiful. Fawaz also saw his first set of ice castle, and it was really unique for him. He was talking whenever he is in the mountains. He's always excited and he's like trying to tell us things, but of course since he's a baby we don't understand what he's saying, but we can imagine that he was really happy to be out in the mountains, and it was really refreshing for us as well. Another cool thing which you guys can do is also horse sledding. So we've seen a lot of horse sledders passing by us, and this is something they bring out especially in winter, so you can experience this. Another unique way to experience with the kids, or if you wanted to just switch it up a little bit, then this is a great way to experience as well. They go all the way up to Mirror Lake, and if you guys don't know what Mirror Lake is, I'm gonna link another video in the description. So we did hike Mirror Lake, I think back in 2020, so just check it out. It will be on the screen, so just check it out and you guys will have an idea. So basically it's the horses will go up to the lake above Lake Louise, and it's a pretty cool way to see another frozen lake as well if you haven't seen enough frozen lakes. Next activity on my list, drum roll please, and you guessed it right, it is hiking. Yes, hiking in the mountains, and if you know me, you know I'm an avid hiker and we love hiking no matter what the season is. And even after having Fawaz, we've been on a lot of different hikes. That didn't stop us from hiking, and we are also introducing him to nature and hikes. I guess it's a really good way to get your children out when they're younger, so that they are more accustomed to nature around, and they can also see the beautiful world and experience something which there is no money for it. Actually, you do have to go and see it. So we decided to take Fawaz to Johnston Canyon, and we did hike Johnston Canyon back in February 2021. If you haven't seen my video on ice walking, do check it out. It'll be on the screen and I'll link it again on the description. But we did hike Johnston Canyon, and we did the upper falls and the lower falls back in February 2021. It was so beautiful that time. We've done the hike both in summer and winter, and I arguably believe that the winter has better views than summer. No, I'm not biased, but you can check out the videos for yourself. I'm going to link the summer one as well, so you can see the difference. But the winter views are out of the world. And the best part about hiking in winter is, since it's winter, not many people like hiking in winter, so you have the place mostly to yourself. There are no mosquitoes, there are less tourists, and it just feels more precious to be out in nature and just soak everything in. So Johnston Canyon is a perfect little hike for any hikers of any level. So you don't have to be like really fit to do this hike. Anyone can do it, and it's perfect for families with little kids. And that's why we decided to introduce Fawaz to this hike. So the lower falls are right now accessible, and the upper falls are closed due to renovation. The lower falls are 2.3 kilometers round trip, and you only have about 100 meters of elevation gain. So it's rated as easy, and it takes only about an hour to do the whole thing. We took Fawaz out to the trails. He was as happy as a busy bee, and he loved seeing everything. He loved seeing his first set of frozen waterfalls, and there are a lot of smaller waterfalls in the area before you actually go up to lower falls. Once you go up to lower falls, there is a cave which you can enter, and when you enter the cave you can see the lower falls. And since it didn't snow for a while, the waterfalls was slightly melting, so we saw it being half frozen and half of the water flowing out. So it was half frozen, half thawed, and it was really beautiful to see that. Fawaz did get tired. By the time we went to lower falls, he fell asleep because he was so excited to be out in the open for so many hours, because we did Lake Louise just before Johnston Canyon, and he was awake for it all. But he got tired out, and when we came home later that night, he slept really well. So this is another thing which is proven, that when you take your kids out to the open, they sleep better that night. So pro tip for new parents. But jokes apart, nature is really healing, and this is another great activity to do in Banff. If you've never checked out frozen waterfalls yet and you wanted to check something out which is easy, then Johnston Canyon should definitely be on your list. It is perfect, it is easy, the views are really beautiful. For minimal effort you get out of the world views, so it's really worth your time. And the last activity on my list today is Banff Gondola. Now, Banff Gondola is a must thing to do if it's your first time here in Banff during winter, because the views while you're going through the gondola is so beautiful with the snow setting in the background on the trees. It looks perfect. And once you go up to the top, which is the Sulphur Mountain, you can walk till the Cosmic Ray Station. So you can walk in the boardwalk and you can walk to the end of the boardwalk, which is another place called the Cosmic Ray Station, and you can soak in the views, or you can just admire the views from inside the gondola. So you can admire the views up top, and they have gift shops, and it's really another way to experience winter. So if you have not done that, then you should definitely do it. It's beautiful to take up a gondola and ride to the top and get world-class views, again with minimal effort. The other option would be to hike Sulphur Mountain, which is really hard. I wouldn't recommend doing it in winter. Unless you love hiking, then that's a different story. But if you wanted to go to the top, then Banff Gondola is another option to use. And currently they are charging, I guess, a little bit under 60 per person. And it is also another nice thing to do while you're at Banff. These are the activities I have listed for today. They are really the best activities you can have in Banff for minimal pay, and the views and the memories you make will be everlasting, and it is something to talk about for years to come. So I hope you have liked my video today. If you have liked my video, don't forget to hit the like button, and as always, do subscribe to my channel if you're new. Thank you guys again for sticking around and for encouraging me. I hope you guys will stay tuned on my Instagram channel, and I hope to be back with a new video real soon. Till then, bye.